Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another cool IT tech video. Today, I would like to show you about an issue that came in. A friend of mine had problems with his computer. It would blue screen of death when it would work, and also apparently he had it cleaned or fixed somewhere else. And weirdly enough, after he got it back, it would only work with single channel memory, which is really weird. So single channel RAM and blue screen of death all the time. So after fixing that, I did some recommendations and we upgraded. So I'm very curious to know at the end of the video, what do you guys think of it all and if my recommendations were good. So let's get going. So the computer we have right here is a pre-built that was built by a company that I know pretty well. They do a decent job, but mostly for IT support for small companies. They're not really in the market of gaming computers. But all in all, it's not a bad machine. It was built, I believe, during COVID. It is a Ryzen 3800, so 8-core CPU, 16 thread, with a GTX 1660 Super, which in today's standards isn't the fastest card, but it will still get you around. So initially this computer came with 2 times 8 gigs of DDR4 RAM, 3200 I believe, but right now it can only run with a stick of 8. So let's begin by taking off the CPU cooler to take a look at what could have happened. So here we have our glorious Ryzen 3800X. Again, it's a very good CPU for the time. But the issue that I found when I took off the CPU, not this time, but the original time, was that there was a lot of bent pins. Maybe 3 or 4 bent pins, which I had fun putting back together. Here's a different camera angle because previously it wasn't focusing whatsoever. And if you pay attention to the top right, there's one pin that seems to be kind of off. It looks like it's bent inwards, but the reality is I bent everything back together, and this pin is just shorter or broken off. Besides that, there were a couple other pins that were really bent in. It's really, I can't even explain how that computer was booting. And technically I was told that it was still working. It was working with single channel memory for God knows what reason, with a number of pins that weren't even connected. So in the end, whoever put it back together bent a pin, maybe dropped the CPU, and then he just barbarically forced the CPU right back in the socket, which I find absolutely ridiculous. But yeah, after unbending the pins, unfortunately, I still was having issues with this computer. So given the issues, I did a test with with some parts that I have in stock, which would be a Ryzen 5800X and a kit of 2 times 16 gigs of RAM. And even with that issue, I couldn't get it booting or posting with a kit of 2 sticks, which clearly indicated that it wasn't just CPU issue, it was also the motherboard that was destroyed. So with that said, I gave the option of an upgrade, and my friend also wanted 32 gigs of RAM. In that case, I recommended to go with AM5 because it's a platform that's gonna last for a very long time. But the other thing to consider is that his GPU is a 1660 Super, which, while a decent card, is really kind of not well balanced with an AM5 computer. So my other options were to get a Ryzen 5 5600X with a very cheap B550 motherboard, or given that it's a computer he wouldn't want to upgrade in the future, to put in for a 5700X 3D, That way the platform is fully maxed out, and later on he could upgrade to a much better cost-effective GPU like 7800 XT or 7900 GRE, or maybe a NVIDIA 4070 Super. Those are all very good cards that could pair with the Ryzen 5700X 3D. So in the end, he went for the middle option, and that's what we went for. Very cheap B550 motherboard, which I got on Amazon warehouse deal for $96. And it's Canadian dollars, not USD, so it's pretty cheap. And I also found a kit of Crucial 32 gig, 2x16, 3200 megahertz DDR4 for 63 bucks. So those are pretty much what I would call a steal for price and quality parts. The Ryzen 7 is $280 on Amazon, and I guess it just does the job. So let's start with the teardown. Let's start by taking out the GPU and the motherboard, and let's go with it. And my apologies for the camera angle, and let's just accelerate this a little bit. All right, let's remove all of the headers, the power, and everything else. And let's get to unscrewing all of these. And my apologies, I do not have a screwdriver from lttstore.com. I would want one actually, but for now I'll keep on using my 15-year-old Snap-on. Now that the motherboard's out, I think it would be a good time to clean, because the reality is this computer is pretty disgusting. So I believe my buddy has 1 or 2 kitty cats, and when there's kitty cats, there's cat hair, and yeah, it was pretty dusty. So I did what I can given the circumstances, and obviously I didn't film all of the cleaning, so I just went step by step. As you can see, I started with the front panel fans, and I am using a technique that my dentist has always taught me every time I visit. And yes, I know it's better to go with some Q-tips and some alcohol swabs, which I did later on. But for the beginning, I just worked with what I had. A nice toothbrush given to me by my dentist. I hope they won't be offended. Oh, and no, I don't floss every single day, unfortunately. So I did blow some compressed air inside, and I cleaned it as best as I can. So first things first, for the rebuild, let's install this pathetic little I/O shield. I really do enjoy the modern motherboards that have it integrated. But hey, for a under $100 Canadian motherboard, I'll go with price and performance. So let's get the motherboard in there. Sorry for the fast forward. I just want to get the video up and running, line up the screw holes, and let's move the computer to give a better view angle. So motherboard is put in and aligned. Time to screw in all of the nice little motherboard screws with my not lttstore.com screwdriver. And let's keep going. And now for la pièce de résistance, the Ryzen 5700X 3D. So here it is, this beautiful little performer of a chip. Let's just shove it in there. It fell in beautifully, and it's locked in place. Now let's put some wonderful Noctua thermal paste. A nice little blob right at the center that's going to be smashed in with the good old heatsink. Of course, the eagle eyes around YouTube will probably notice that I screwed up. Basically, I forgot to remove the old motherboard OEM cooler brackets. So I'm gonna get that done nice and quick, and I'm gonna reinstall the old Cooler Master brackets. So my buddy, he went for the 5700X3D. He went for the RAM. He went for the motherboard, obviously. And he decided to stay with his old OEM cooler, which is a Cooler Master. It's a nice tower, and it does an excellent job. Now let's reinstall our Cooler Master. The brackets are now nice and set up. So we're just going to put this guy in. Try to apply even pressure at the beginning and tighten the screws just a little bit diagonal, one and then the other corner and then the opposite corner, etc., until it's fully tightened. All right, now time to put in the NVMe. And I have to admit, I cut off a little part of the video where I was struggling. It's with these Gigabyte motherboards. On the motherboard, the pin to secure the NVMe in the back, I never seen it before. You literally have to yank it out and put it back in over the SSD. I'm used to it either being a little screw or a little tab that you rotate. But hey, we learn something new every day. All right, let's install this kit of Crucial DDR4 3200 MHz. It's a kit of 2x16, and for $65 Canadian, I think that's quite a nice deal. So the video is getting a little long, so here is the final result after setting up the fan and putting in the video card back in, running the cables nicely, tie wrapping all the cables front and back, doing the best I can with cable management, and I am pretty happy with the end result. Also, the computer has two NVMEs, one 500 gig that came with the system initially, which was his boot drive, same Windows installation. I added an extra 1 terabyte team group NVMe that my buddy agreed on getting. And I also give him a 1 terabyte mechanical hard drive just for big, slow storage. So now that it's done, how does this computer perform? So here's Fortnite with some very basic competitive settings, DirectX 11, frame cap to 180, and some medium, and honestly it's a mix of medium and low because for Fortnite, if you want to compete, this is what you go for. I would have loved to go a little higher, but with a 1660 Super, I just want to get really, really solid and competitive performance. Alright, so I jumped in, got a gun, found a car. Sadly, I didn't find anyone to shoot right off the bat. But let's get going. I don't want to spend too much time showing off the game. While jumping, there were a couple of stutters. I think that's pretty normal with this game, sadly. But we do get a solid 150 frames per second. 150, 160, 170, and I believe I capped it at 180, but it doesn't really seem to get there. As expected, the CPU usage is around 97%, 99%, to be expected. And the CPU is, the CPU is practically sleeping at 25, 26, 30%. Definitely could do a lot better. And here is me sucking at Fortnite, but being extremely cheap. And I guess because I'm low ranked, I'm also ranked with people who are pretty new to the game or pretty much suck, because as you can see, I take out everyone extremely easily. And here's someone who just surprised me. God, I hate these buildings. Let's take care of that. And here someone else surprises me. Let's see if we can take care of them too. There they go. Alright, let's get to some Counter-Strike 2 and see how that performs. So here the settings are on a mix of high on 1080p. And let's go for a game and see how it runs. And I really suck at this game, so I'm probably gonna die a lot. But as it is now, we can see that it is running at around 150 FPS. The average is hovering around 165, which is just perfect. Frame time graph is beautiful. The CPU temps are at 56 degrees, which is excellent with that cooler master. The GPU temps are at 56 degrees. The CPU usage is at 90. Tabarnak. GPU temps at 56. GPU usage at 96. Predictably, it's only a 1660 Super with a Ryzen 57X 3D. And of course, the CPU usage is at 35, 26, 37%. So the CPU is sleeping, and this computer is going to be very happy with a faster video card in maybe a year or so, whenever my buddy's ready. So still now, FPS average 158, max 223, and the minimum's at 92. And the beauty of it is the frame time graph. No hiccups whatsoever. Everyone's favorite, the good old Cyberpunk. So let's check out the graphics. I put it no ray tracing because that GPU is not going to go at it. So let's just go with the medium preset with some AMD fidelity. Balanced. Just playing around here. Crowd density high because I like to have a lot of people for my psychopathic needs. And yeah, let's just leave the rest as default. Let's see how it runs. Alright, so here I am being a cyber psycho because that's how I like to test this game. Alright, GPU temps at 54. This GPU runs nice and cool. GPU usage, pretty much 100%. And GPU VRAM using 4.5 gigs out of 6. CPU temps are well under control, 70 degrees or 68. CPU usage is about 50% in Cyberpunk. And yeah, it's using a nice amount of RAM. All in all, frames per second, we're running around 80 frames per second for medium preset. That's pretty decent on this computer. FPS minimum 66. The average is at 75, which is pretty decent, and the frame time graph is also quite respectable. So all in all, wonderful computer, and I look forward to seeing it with GPU like an RX 6800 or 6800 XT or 7800 XT. Those are all excellent GPUs. I also really like the NVIDIA 4070 Super, and I think it might make the CPU bottleneck a little bit, but yeah, I think it'll be just perfect. Sadly, NVIDIA GPUs are extremely expensive, so we'll see with time. So enough of this absolutely terrible gameplay of mine. I hope you guys enjoyed. So that's the end of the video. I hope you guys enjoyed. To me it was fun. It was very interesting to troubleshoot, and it was quite a surprise. Like, I've never seen a computer work with like a bunch of pins that were like completely smashed inwards and not even connecting within the motherboard. It's unfortunate, it's sad, because it was a really good quality AM4 motherboard at the time, and the 3600, I'm sorry, the 3800X, I am yet to test it on another board to see if it's still salvageable. I know there's one pin that's missing, so I'd have to see if it's a ground or if there is a signal. Really, it's something to test, but all in all, my friend is very happy. Basically, everything I did, he's a friend of mine. It's at cost price. I did charge him $100 of labor. I did put a good couple of hours on it, but to me, it's fun. I really like gaming hardware, and that is that. So I wish you guys an awesome night, and well, it's night for me. I don't know about you. So take good care, guys. Ciao, until the next one.